What's going on, y'all? It's JSmo Reviews here, back at it again with another video, man. Fuck all that shit! Wait a minute. Who cares about an intro? We got announcements. We have a special announcement. Something very important happened today. First of all, the rest of the NOME 15 lineup has been dropped. Really, it was just the main event. Geechee Gotti vs. T-Rex is main eventing NOME 15. We got the full lineup. We're going to do a little bit of NOME talk. The predictions, now that we got the full card, predictions should be the next video. We'll talk a little bit about now that the card's out, how everybody feels about it still. Just one more topic about the quality, if these battles are NOME worthy, right? But then something very important happened today. TBL had their second announcement today, and I'd figure if it's a co-main event to Hitman Holla and Murda Mook, right, the second announcement, it had to be something special. But what I did not know is that it would be as special as possible. It would be my, J Smo's, personal dream battle, my two favorite battle rappers of all time going at it. And finally, due to TBL, they have announced Rum Nitty versus Calico for the co-main event of Bulletproof. This is what it's all about right here. Hitman and Murda Mook, Rum Nitty versus Calico. Major isn't even the word for it. And for me, this has been, first of all, this is going back to like 2019, right? This was originally almost booked for Lockdown in Philadelphia. That's the Cassidy versus Arsenal, Tay-Rock versus Geechee Gotti. We're talking about almost 7 years ago. Calico almost locked in with Rum Nitty. I thought it was an amazing battle back then. Eventually, I know things got kind of twisted around. You ended up with Calico versus New Jersey Twerk, which ended up being like a half incomplete battle. They both kind of did some good things in the battle, but there's recycling, there's choking, there's the crowd interfering with the battle, all types of things. And since then, Rum Nitty vs. Calico has been ever so elusive. It's almost been booked for a few different SMs. It's been mentioned. Cal says a puncher could never beat him and Nitty could do nothing with him. Nitty talks about how he would beat the shit out of Calico in a battle. They went back and forth. 1,000 like tweets. SM13, it came once again promoed super high like it was going to get locked in. Time and time again, I've seen Calico and Nitty get pitched and not happen. And now finally, after Nitty going through most of what looks to be like his god tier battle run, from battling Lux to battling Ilmac to battling Daylight and getting the last few legends he hasn't battled on his resume, we finally end up with Rum Nitty versus Calico. We're talking about the best puncher of all time versus one of the best pure rappers, best real talk rappers, one of the best Midwestern rappers of all time. I mean, a super legend in Calico. And there's so many different ways this battle can go. I still don't know the amount of people that are going to be in the room. I bet I could look it up, right? It is going to be a bigger stage out there in Houston, but just quite what the exact setting is going to be out there in Texas for Bulletproof. But for this battle, big room, small room, I think it's going to be incredible no matter the size of the room it is, because I just believe in this matchup that much. They are two of the best at what they do. It's been building up for some time. I won't say like a flat out grudge, but there is some competitive static there. And it's at a time that Calico is coming off of a battle versus Swamp where he looked as good as he's looked in probably his last 10 battles. And Rum Nitty's coming off another great start to the year here in 2025 with the Daylight victory, performances versus Elijah Straight and Snake Eyes. And I am just over the moon. This is a battle, like I said, my number one battle overall that I have wanted forever now. And I think that there is classic potential here. You know how sparingly I use that word on this channel, but I think the battle can be just that. I think it'll be extremely preferential because of the types of styles they have. And if it's an A+ version of both, that's already debatable. Taking the style out of it, if you get the best versus the best of someone, usually it ends up in a range where you're just kind of like splitting hairs and deciding your winner. But with them being so good at two completely different and very important lanes of battle rap, we're going to see lyricism on both sides at its highest degree. But the creativity with Rum Nitty is going to be amazing. There's going to be angling on both sides, but I think it'll be a bigger part of Calico's game plan. And then the pockets he's able to get into, and I'm sure he knows the pressure this battle will bring in terms of competitive nature. I can only see this being amazing. I can't even see it being good or great. I can only see this battle being amazing. And with a two-battle start to Bulletproof, like I said, and I will say once again, Hitman Holla versus Murda Mook, Rum Nitty versus Calico, and I heard Chilla say, I believe it was on 3 Letterman, this is going to be an 8-battle card, which I love a lot. I liked Apollo. I loved Apollo, of course, but over 20 plus battles, around 24, 25 battles. It became a task by the second day, as good as it was, to get through all of the raps back to back to back. 8-battle event. Beneath 10, I said 6 or 7. I'll take 8 if you want to throw one more on there. I'm sure there's going to be some more top tier talent to be added. I'm sure a new guy or two will get a look, but it's enough space without overwhelming the consumer, but also giving you a healthy amount of battles, a healthy undercard to go with the main event that is so big that it has to be the main focus. So you can't do a 25 battle weekend and just have Hitman and Mook be at the end of like 2 12-hour shifts of battle rap, right? So the card's being built perfect so far. They are a perfect. What did Piper Boy say about bad news? 100% accuracy. That's how good they've done it with these first 2 announcements. And I'm just over the moon about what TBL is doing. They already did great things with Apollo. You land the biggest battle maybe in battle rap history, and you follow it back up with a humongous battle to book just as is. But then for me personally as a fan, a dream match. And I know a couple other people, battle rap bums, shout out my guy out there. A couple others of you also have been wanting this battle for so long, and they book it. That's one thing TBL does. They don't just book good battles, great battles. They've been doing that. They book the battles. They book the battles that people are asking for in this exact moment of time. And that's why there's been a lot of, competition with URL over the years. Different leagues have came and went, Battler ran leagues, other leagues, ARP and RB. But when I look at what TBL's doing, the stature of battles that they're throwing, the fact they've operated as like a middle level league for some time. So they know how to book mid tiers, build up talent. Not that they're making stars, but give new talent a chance to shine. And they're staying fairly active through the year, maybe not the amount of production that URL's used to, but if TBL can finish this year with the 2 biggest events of the year, let's say 4 to 5 different events. I know Point Proven Stream wasn't successful, but if they turn around and have less of that while keeping up the consistency, this is as real of a takeover league as there is, no pun intended. Like, there's a real path for TBL being the number 1 league in battle rap and maybe sustaining that long term if their creative vision stays as good as it is and as tapped in as it is with the community. And of course, their production and their consistency stays up there, because it's not about just being the best league for 1 year or being a great league for 2 or 3 years. It's about doing it year in and year out so people can rely on you for the big battles as time goes on. So super congrats and thank you more than anything to TBL for these announcements so far for Rum Nitty versus Calico, and I can't wait to see what's coming next for Bulletproof. And now that I've spoken my piece on Nitty versus Calico a little bit, told you why it's going to be 10 out of 10, that initial wave of excitement, we could talk a little bit now about the full card for NOME 15. And like I said, and I've been saying, now that the full card's out, the next video on NOME will be a predictions video. No question about it. But I want to address how people are feeling about the card still, and I'll tell you right now, I said beforehand, before it was all announced, I would say it's a 7 out of 10 on paper, maybe pushing 8 out of 10 with the New York factor and how I think New York adds to the stakes, the pressure, the overall everything of the event. I believe going back to the New York big stage is going to add to it, especially in the results of the battle. So maybe not on paper, even though I'm thinking of it, but after the fact, I think New York is going to add to the quality and the weight that it holds. But I still think it's a 7 out of 10 on paper with the matchups that are there. And I'm seeing some people, night of mid events, it's the worst NOME ever. Not saying that their URL is far from above critique, and not everyone that critique the card, but some of you, the way some of you have been acting with these NOME announcements, I just know you got the Cheeto fingers. There is an orange hue to the tips of all 5 of these fingers, because that's the only way with some of the way you guys have been behaving. I'm seeing like a guy, second announcement comes out, there was an account, 6 comments hating on all different posts. Like, we hear you, bro. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if anybody else in your actual life hears you, but we see you on the internet. So there's been a lot of pushback for NOME, right? I say 7 out of 10. I know from my wish list video, I had 6 battles on there, right? 4 of them I got. I got Eunice versus Chess, Fonz versus John, Rock versus Real Sick, and Geechee versus T-Rex. So pretty good. About 66% of the card was on the card that I wanted too. Now I will say, the big hitters that I had for those proposed cards were Twerk and Av, Nitty versus Calico. Well, obviously, Nitty versus Calico is going to be happening over there at TBL. And there's still no word on Twerk versus Av. So I got one cursed battle booked. I manifested one. I don't know if I was able to manifest the other. So in theory, even me looking back, it's not the 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 card where I wanted, where I do think it's missing the splash play battle. That's like the biggest room rocker on the card. So for people that are saying this obviously isn't great, I agree with you. It's not a great card, but there's still a ton of good work here, and that's why I'm happy for the 6 battles I asked to be on the card are still on there. And I'll go down the storyline for all of them. Some of you just don't want to like it, and I'm not here to force anybody to like anything. If you don't want to like it, don't buy the motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? But I think, and I'll speak on it again because I spoke on it in the last announcement video, maybe it's these UM1 talents being on here where traditionally you would see a Tay-Rock, you'd see a Rum Nitty, you'd see a Geechee Gotti, and Geechee is on the other side of a legend like a T-Rex, right? But maybe even though these guys have battled almost everyone, you're expecting Tay-Rock versus Easy the Block Captain. Most of us know that that's not realistic, but that's the level matchup you want if Tay-Rock's on the card. You want Rum Nitty and Calico, but on the Gnome card, which I'm not mad at, although Rum Nitty versus Jay is still a fantastic matchup. But we also have a lot of talk about new stars, people picking up the mantle, and these aren't rookies that they're picking up off the street to just battle on Gnome. Once again, people are upset that Fonz is on Gnome versus John. It's Fonz's 5th Gnome. It's Jay the Nightwing's 3rd Gnome. I think it's Real Sick's 3rd Gnome. So these guys have already been on Gnomes before. I did not hear this level of complaining when K-Shine battled Real Sick. When Danny Myers battled Real Sick, when Av battled Jay the Nightwing, when Fonz battled JC, there was not these levels of complaints, and these happened on Gnome cards. I just think part of it is the climate, it's URL. I also think there was weirdness with how Gnome was like, it was getting rumored to the public, right? And you have dumbass accounts, and some of you that follow MBS and take it for real life, I don't know what to tell you. They're a bullshit troll account. I know they got 12K, they look legitimate, but they're putting out Gnome is going to have a bigger announcement than Hitman versus Murda Mook. There's no bigger announcements than Hitman versus Murda Mook. Like, we got to stop being gullible at some point in time, right? But I think that the hype also adds to a little bit of the pushback once the announcements get out. But overall, this is a solid Gnome. All of them UM1 guys are very deserving of this. They've passed with flying colors in tons of different situations, and now it's the New York big stage. They call it the Mecca of battle rap, and it truly is a different amount of pressure when the lights are on in New York. So I want to see these extremely talented UM1 guys show up with matches they've been lined up for. Jay called out Nitty. Real Sick and Rock has been cooking for some time. John and Fonz got the most genuine grudge on the card. We like storylines, right? We like promo. These guys have given you all of that to the point that it almost seems like they don't really like each other. I think it's mostly competitive, but you have that. You have Eunice versus Chess, which very same storyline, a proper shot being given, and then you still have legend like a Geechee Gotti versus T-Rex, and that's booked somewhere else. If it popped up on TBL, some of you would be shaking ass. Yes, you would. You would be shaking ass in the timeline, but it's URL, so you act like it isn't anything. I understand. They've done things to get the people against them. I'm not mad at everyone that's mad at URL, but I'm saying be realistic and be fair when we're grading the cards as well. Is it a 10 out of 10 card? No. Is it a 5 out of 10? Some people are saying it's the worst Gnome ever. 2 years ago, we had a Gnome full of 2v2s. You can find my blog on that. I was smoking URL because that was truly terrible. That was a horrific idea, and it turned out to be mostly horrific battles on top of that from Gnome Impact. So, like, we've seen the bad of the bad. This is not going to be that. The setting is cultivating of good battles. You have great battlers on the card, and most importantly, while it's not the biggest names, you have some hungry battlers on the card. Fonz is hungry. Real Sick is hungry. Jay the Nightwing, Eunice are hungry. Rock and Nitty are the type of vets who they've been hungry for 15 years. I don't know what's wrong with them. Doesn't matter how high up the mountain they climb, they're still giving you 10 out of 10 performances. And that's just some of the battlers on the card. So I'm still high on this Gnome card. I think the result will be even better than what's on paper, but I still think you have not an ass. You have a solid card on paper. So we're just going to have to wait and see how it plays out. Hopefully the promo picks up from here. It's still on the battlers and the leagues to sell us the card. Don't get me wrong. Even though they did announce it kind of late, I agree with a lot of people on that. Gnome's on the 22nd. It's the 9th when I'm making this video. It's less than 2 weeks to Gnome. You know what I'm saying? So don't love the planning of it, but still want to see how the event goes down. Obviously, like I'll say time and time again, the New York factor is its own exciting factor to tune in for aside from the battles itself. But as always, man, we have more announcements, right? So I want to know your guys' opinions. Of course, Cal and Nitty, how are you feeling about it? Does it make you smile the way it makes me smile? Do you think it's going to be as amazing as I think? And what do you want on the rest of the Bulletproof undercard? And then as for Gnome, now that the full card is out, do you feel a little better where it's like, oh, it's a good card? Or are you someone that thinks it's a great card? I don't think it's a great card, but if you're one of those people that's super excited, let me know. And if you still don't like it, cool with that. We're all entitled to our opinion. But if you could just explain to me why. Why do you think it's one of the worst gnomes? What is wrong with it? What matchup just so doesn't belong here? I would love to know and have dialogue in the comment section down below, man. But it's been J Smo Reviews again here, y'all. Like, comment, and subscribe. And I'm going to catch you on the next one, man. Peace.